everyone, Lou here. Happy Halloween! With Halloween quite literally tomorrow, I'm sure you guys have a lot of playlists for Halloween, right? I know I have my Halloween playlist filled to the brim with mostly soundtracks of Coraline and The Nightmare Before Christmas. However, Vocaloid actually has quite a few spooky songs. In true Halloween and YouTuber style, let's talk about some spooky Vocaloid songs. Roll the intro and let's get started. Now, a bit of a disclaimer for a few things. Popular Vocaloid songs will be on this list. I'd love to put more obscure songs, but I can't read Japanese nor understand the language, so it's difficult for me to search Nico Nico for something a bit more obscure. Second, serious subjects will be discussed in this video. If you're triggered by very serious and intense themes, I don't suggest watching this video. If you can handle the really dark themes, let's go ahead and start the video. Now this is one part of a relatively short song series. I say relatively short because goodness knows Jin and Mothi set the standard for Vocaloid song series, that's for sure. Anyway, the song is about a circus full of, quote, freaks that includes a man who acts like a rabid dog, conjoined twins, and a woman who was deformed. We find out through other songs that this series specifically focuses on the deformed diva. She was once a woman who was married, and I think her husband put her in a cage and gave her to a mental asylum where they experimented on her to the point of deformity and sold her to a circus. That part is a bit muddy to me because there is a light novel, but it's currently not translated at the time of this video. Upon reading more information about the series, a lot of things in other songs were retconned due to the light novel, so I have no idea what details were removed or included in the light novel. Then it kind of ends weirdly where she's plunged into hell for taking her own life and speaks about how she's burning alive and being torn to pieces in hell. It's punishment for taking her own life, which is yikes. Then at some point she's allowed to redeem herself by becoming a Grim Reaper and kills her husband who locked her in a cage, I guess. Really wild story, my gosh. What's crazy to me is that this series is only known for what's basically the third song in the timeline of events. While I don't consider Darkwood Circus to be a scary song, I do love the atmosphere it gives off. It reminds me of American Horror Story Freak Show, and the lyrics feel like something you'd find in a classic old creepypasta. The reverb makes the song sound haunting, and the music box-esque tone gives you some kind of atmosphere of a haunted circus. It's done really well. While Miku, Rin, and Len could have used some tuning, this is a very old Vocaloid song where not everyone knew what tuning was, so I'll give it a pass. I only wish that this song had some sort of remaster because I think a higher quality release would really give it an oomph that a lot of Vocaloid songs really need nowadays. For some reason though, everyone thinks this is based off a true story. Something about someone in the comments section of the translated video uploaded said that they heard from someone else that it's a true story, which, no, it's not. When I heard about the rumor, I did some digging to see if it was true, only because I wanted to humor it. While there are elements, the story itself told in the song is not true. Obviously, a circus is going to capitalize on the physical and mental disabilities of people because that's how circuses functioned up until half a century ago, but this specific story never happened. Though I did read in a few places that the line in the song, "rotten fruit to dissolve my eyes," could be referring to a form of punishment some circuses did where they threw acid or rotten lemonade on the performers. I don't want to see anything gruesome come up in that search for it, so I'll take it with a grain of salt. Though given how brutal things could be in a circus, especially back in like the Victorian Edwardian era, I would not be surprised. Overall, the song is amazing. While I don't normally recommend English Vocaloid covers, I highly recommend Jubiphonics' version as well. Her lyrics are pretty accurate and her singing for it is incredible as always. While I did a video about Kikuo last year, and this isn't the last time Kikuo will appear in this video, I highly recommend this song. On top of having fantastic fucking dubstep that makes me want to start dancing to it, the lyrics for this song are more disgusting than creepy. While some people think the song is about cannibalism, for some reason, the song is actually about a father abusing his daughter in every possible way. The song is from her perspective as an abuse victim learning from someone else that her father's abuse is not okay in the slightest. What I mean by disgusting, by the way, is that the lyrics during the dubstep part is disgusting. I can't repeat them on YouTube because they're so explicit that I don't want to get this video age restricted or something. And since I want people to see this video, I don't want to take my chances on that. Coming home from, I guess, the guy nearly assaulting her, something like that, her father brings his friends and they assault her too, making her apologize for running away and being so disgusting. If the tone of the music were different, this song would be one of the most heartbreaking Vocaloid songs in existence, my gosh. What makes people think the song is about cannibalism is the reference to, slurping fluids that I'm not going to say. I think it's more showing that the character's inner thoughts is that she's disgusted by what her father is doing and sees herself as absolutely filthy and vile. It's also possible she was trying to look disgusting as well in order to seem unappealing. Both feelings are actually very common in victims of abuse. To be honest, this song kind of reminds me of that really disturbing anime movie, Shoujo Tsubaki. I haven't seen the movie myself because frankly I don't have the stomach for what's described of that movie in other videos I've seen on YouTube. The plot of this song and the movie are strangely similar on paper, actually. A girl being horrifically abused by someone she thought was protecting her, while knowing only nothing but suffering, I guess. I guess there really is such a thing as dubstep making you cry. While the song isn't super creepy, what does creep me out is the pained moans of Miku and Gumi in the song. Kinda chilling. While I don't think the song is that great, it was actually an honorable mentions in my top 5 worst Vocaloid songs video. I have changed my mind from 3 years ago, and I don't really agree with myself from 3 years ago. I just think it needed more time to get used to Masa's intense style of music. The story is basically about two girls, both in love with each other, except Gumi's character has a batshit crazy mom, so I think to be a bitch, she kidnaps her daughter's girlfriend and brutally tortures her, while pretending to be her. Gumi's character's mother also looks like her, so Miku's character thinks she's actually doing all this to her. This causes all the hatred and anger within the girl to turn into a kitsune, I think, and it comes into a never-ending cycle of these two girls brutally torturing each other in every life cycle, I guess. The song is an unending flat beat where Gumi's vocals go in a very gruesome detail about the things she's doing to this poor girl. Like, I cannot list a single thing from this song or else I'm pretty sure YouTube would again age restrict this. I do prefer the sequel song, The Fox's Wedding, though, but the main verse in particular is actually pretty good. I'm starting to like it. It's pretty spooky for those lyrics and intense music style of Masa. It's definitely perfect for Halloween. There's just something really intense about his style, kind of like watching more extreme horror movies for the first time. The high BPM of the song and the tuning here makes Miku and particularly Gumi sound almost erratic and insane. Definitely a perfect spooky song for someone who doesn't mind the gory details of the lyrics. I believe, and take my words with a grain of salt, this is actually one of the first creepy Vocaloid songs in the community that actually blew up. According to the original broadcast video, Hachi said he wanted to make this song to depict the cruelty of innocent children, and later on a blog he stated he wanted to mention how children's innocence can be destructive, while stating that he can't say anything more. This is from the Vocaloid wiki, so take it with the world's most massive grain of salt since I can't read Japanese myself, and I didn't know what Vocaloid was when this song popped up in 2009. Many believe this song is about child human trafficking and how children want revenge for the abuse done to them for obvious reasons. And maybe that's why Hachi didn't want to go into more detail on the song. The lyrics to this song are very strange, but some have interpreted the lyrics such as yeah, no, meaning that they don't want to do what they're doing, if you know what I mean. A line of creatures saying, "Mademoiselle, shall we dance?" A skull is expecting, likely meaning pregnancy from this forced work, mentioning a row of flowers being sold, but then calling them cuties, and obviously the "let's make a baby" lyrics. I can definitely see what they're talking about when the lyrics mention this. The reason people believe it's children is because of the childish nature of the song and the mention of young flowers. I think it's a good theory, but remember that only Hachi knows the true intentions. The song could also be about children who watch all the cruelty and horrible things in the world and just close and open their eyes to it. Watching people argue over money, nagging when adults tell them to mind their own business, and more can suggest that too. The song in general is pretty amazing, having this old Japanese folklore vibe in the instrumentals. While Miku's voice was very uniquely mixed for this song, I really love it. While I don't consider it spooky, I can see why it can be a little creepy for some people. Not me though, I adore this song. Honorable mentions time. These are songs that I think are good, but either not good enough for a top 5 or just not my personal taste. Yeah, so I have major arachnophobia, and while this song's instrumentals is gorgeous, the lyrics literally make my skin crawl. The song is basically about someone preparing to eat a tarantula. Why? I have no idea, but it's awful. However, it did its job in making my skin crawl. Oliver also sounds beautiful in this song. Despite the lyrics, this is actually one of my favorite Oliver songs. I already talked about this song on a previous video about Kikuo in particular, so I'll just be repeating myself, but I do genuinely love this song. There's something kind of creepy about the dead basically dancing and trying to lure you to join them. It's spooky in all the good ways with an incredible melody, and these funky little guys dancing. I've never personally been a fan of this song, but I know a lot of people love it, so that's why it's here. This song is about a yandere interpretation of Miku and Luca. Basically, Miku and Luca are jealous over their producer, using one over the other. So Miku tries killing Luca with some scissors, where it turns out Luca is also crazy and stabs Miku when she hesitates. That's it. The song itself is good. I love the guitar riff in particular, but it's just a really ridiculous song to me. I mean, the twist is a little shocking if it's your first Vocaloid song, but I don't know. I feel like that kind of stuff is more ridiculous than shocking to me. I'm still not a fan of yanderes, but I do genuinely love how this song's lyrics ramp up from obsession to straight up brutal murder. This was also one of the first Vocaloid songs I ever heard, so there's some nostalgia in there for me. The song is basically about a girl who lives next to a handsome guy. He barely knows she exists, but she's fully convinced that they're a couple and whispers to him through the wall. One day he invites his girlfriend to his house where the girl in the song snaps. It's implied she likely killed his girlfriend, then delivered him a dead cat because she knows he loves cats, and then plans to kill him and shove him in a cardboard box for some reason. It's just a classic, and I really love the spooky dudes throughout the song. A pretty good one if you want a classic case of boil your bunny, as I call it. Now to number 1, the moment you've all been waiting for. Now, I first heard this song when I was around 14-ish. While obviously creepy music doesn't scare me for some fucking reason, this song scared the absolute shit out of me back then. I mean, looking back, I have no idea why, but the nostalgia over being terrified over this song and the story behind it definitely earns a spot at number 1. The song's reverb mixing for Luca and Miku makes it pretty haunting in its melody, and the strangely music box-like melody that slowly twists to form a really great haunting piece. The main verse in particular is sung in a way by Luca and Miku's voice banks that makes it delightfully chilling. So, what's the story for this one? Okay, so it turns out this song is based on a creepypasta of the same name. It's pretty much the same story, by the way, just a lot of the meaty details removed to not make the song turn into one of those cluttered fan songs we all listened to in 2013. Okay, so the story is about German and Japanese you-know-whats in the 1940s during World War II who experimented on orphan children in Japan. Why? Something about their, quote, scientists believed there was some kind of switch in the brain that caused aging, so they thought if they removed it, you could become immortal. Apparently the experiments were also done near Hiroshima, I guess? The experiments would basically be lobotomizing orphan children until they were successful. According to the creepypasta, they were? They found they could reverse the kill switch, or whatever it's called, and experimented on the caretakers too. Except making them immortal makes them creepy and supernatural or something. The kids and the caretakers were left immortal and wanted to stay in the orphanage forever. After Hiroshima was you-know-what, the scientists all left, but not before being creeped out one final time by the kids. Now, the story goes that all the immortal children are still in that orphanage, and if you go somewhere in Hiroshima, you'll find a random building in the woods and see a red door. If you open it, you'll enter a hallway and everyone asks you to play the popular Japanese children's game Kagome Kagome. It's basically the Japanese equivalent of Guess Who. You sit down and close your eyes in a circle of 4 to 6 people and try to guess which one is standing behind you. The thing that makes it creepy to some is that the song you sing while you spin in a circle. Some of the lyrics in the main verse are actually in the Vocaloid song, just slowed down to flow with the haunting melody of the song. The person who is it in the game is also called an Oni, so I guess that creeps people out. It's basically the same way people view Ring Around the Rosie for some reason. Though, upon recording this video right now, just to put in a little note here, it turns out they are playing Kagome Kagome, the original Japanese children's game, but the end of the game is that they brutally stab you to death as soon as you answer right, so edgy. Then it turns into one of those encounter creepypastas. Basically, it's one of those encounter stories where you're fucked no matter what answer you give. The only way to escape is to answer honestly that you don't understand what the caretaker is saying or some shit, and then the caretaker says some shit that makes no sense before they kick you out. Now, a lot of people believe the story is true. Obviously, it's not, but there are elements that can be true. Yes, there were experiments on the brain, yes, there were on orphan children, and yes, there were a few in Japan. However, this particular story, just like Darkwood Circus, is not true at all. Honestly, this story is only really scary if you're a little kid, just like Forgotten by Disney. What I do appreciate, though, is the research that went into it. To be honest, I think this would have been a pretty good creepypasta if they just left the story at the scientists leaving, so that way it's a complete mystery and open-ended. I think horror always works better when you don't know the answer to the ending. The song itself is told from the encounter area of the story and is told from what I assume is the caretaker and children's perspective to the person they're meeting. To me, while the story is incredibly cheesy and has that typical so bad it's good creepypasta vibe the way Forgotten by Disney and Slender Man do, I can't help but love this song for it. It's just a classic Spooky Vocaloid song and perfect for Halloween. If you want a nice subtle spooky vibe this season. That'll be it for this video. Which Spooky Vocaloid song was your favorite? Do you have any suggestions? Let me know down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching! If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. If any of you would like to help support my channel in any possible way, my Ko-fi page is down below in the description, along with all of my social media. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas, or maybe just want to talk about anime or something, I have a fan server linked down below. See you next time!